Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie. Today I am coming at you with a little life update. Well, actually it's not little, it's major. I pulled my son out of school and we're homeschooling. Before I dive into all of our explanations and reasons as to why we made this decision, I do just want to start with, oh man, the internet is just a crazy place these days. And I've seen a lot of judgment and bullying for moms right now. Basically, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you choose distance learning. It doesn't matter if you choose to send your kid to school. It doesn't matter if you choose to homeschool. Somebody is always being a Karen and attacking you for your choices. And the hard part is I think for each and every one of us, it's not an easy decision. I mean, obviously, I don't think any of us have been through a pandemic before. I feel like I can say that with a lot of confidence. So this is uncharted waters for all of us. I mean, no one has ever faced anything like this, and the decisions we're coming up with and all of the changes. And I mean, at least for me, I feel like things are constantly fluctuating, for sure by the day, if not by the hour, and the new mandates that come out and the new information. And this is my head right now. So let me just start by saying that a lot of what I want to share today is very personal. It is reasons that we based our decision to homeschool off. And in saying that, I just want to be careful that I make sure that everyone knows right at the get-go, I'm not trying to put pressure or shame on anyone. I believe that every family right now who has children of school age is facing a super hard decision. I mean, I don't do daycare, but I'm sure it's the same thing about sending your kids back to daycare. We as parents have really, really hard decisions that we're making right now. So please just understand from the get-go that in sharing a lot of my personal feelings and opinions on why we chose to pull our son out of school, I don't want it to hurt anybody's feelings or maybe make somebody feel bad if they did make the hard decision to continue to put their kid in school. That's where I'm at. Whether you chose distance learning, you chose homeschool, you chose school, each and every one of us have had to make a hard decision based on the information that we have, and we've all chosen what's best for our family. So mama, you do you, and whatever is the right choice for your family, you just roll ahead with that with confidence. All right, so here we go, diving into my story. This isn't something that I share a lot on my Instagram. Actually, few people probably know I was actually homeschooled all of my life. I did do a co-op for a little while when I was older, and I also did some college, I was a little older during my high school years, all that good stuff. So, I mean, I had small school experiences, sort of, but I never went to a public school, a private school, charter school, none of it. I was homeschooled. And it's funny because usually whenever I bring that up with people, they're like, oh my gosh, what, Truthfully, homeschoolers can end up being functional members of society and not weirdos, I promise. So it's funny, but I feel like that has actually shaped a lot of our decision to go ahead with homeschooling my son and also my kids. I figured that as long as I was keeping Ezekiel home to do homeschool, I might as well pull Cece into it also, even though she's only 4. I wouldn't have sent her to school this year anyhow, but as long as we're doing school at home, I'm gonna include her in things. Actually, that was a huge part of my decision too, in the fact that in choosing a homeschool curriculum, it can get super overwhelming. And one of the things I loved growing up is my mom chose to do more family style units, where you have individual units of study like math and English is at your grade level, but some of your overall reading like history, Bible studies, stuff like that, you do as a family. We would all sit down together and we would do certain sets together as a family. And I mean, I remember growing up with my sisters and we'd, pull out the coloring books or something, or we just hang out or, maybe even play quietly. And I found as a kid, part of what helped me listen better is to do something. A lot of kids are tactile learners where it's really good for them to be hands-on, to be doing something. And so even now today, part of how I learn, if I go to a seminar or something, I'm constantly taking notes. I'm writing and writing and writing because it helps my brain engage with what they're saying. So I feel like that aspect of homeschooling is just something that's going to be a huge positive for our family, even though we have 2 little ones. Aurora will be 2 when we start school this year, and so I know everything's going to be way over her head, but at the same time, it doesn't ever hurt to have her listen in and learning with the kids, learning how to quietly color or quietly play while mom is reading and engaging with the older kids. So yeah, I'm really excited about that part of homeschooling. And even when I was looking into curriculums, I ended up going with the one that my mom used when I was a kid. It was just one that I remember really liking. It's called Sonlight, Sonlight. And it's very reading based. Again, it has family units that you do together as a family, and then it also has individual ones. But the core of the curriculum and the idea behind it is to facilitate a love of learning in each child, to teach them to love learning and reading and, expanding their mind. And I feel like it really actually did that for me as a kid. I have always been an avid reader. I love reading, and if I have a question, like, the first thing I do is go research it out, and I'll look up a book, or I'll look up an article, or I feel like it really taught that aspect of critical thinking, and just be able to look at information for myself and make up my own mind based off the facts that I can find about things. Let me just say that it was not an easy decision. Figuring out the curriculum, that definitely took me some time and research and looking into things, and I did end up gravitating back towards the one that I felt like I knew and understood. Also, the thing that I liked about Sonlight is it comes with a plan, so each day you're not making up the plan for what am I going to do and what do we need to read. It just has like little boxes basically that you kind of check off, where for Bible time you read this through this, for history you read this book, this through this, and that really helped give me peace of mind that right now with my little ones I wouldn't be like the night before trying to come up with a lesson plan, or the morning of. I just have a clear path for myself. Oh, and by the way, this is not sponsored or anything. I chose Sonlight. I paid money for that curriculum, so just know this is just me chatting. I'm really excited though, because in September I am actually partnering with my friend Kia from Instagram. She is Kindly Kia on Instagram, and you can go check her out. But she is partnering with me in my Patreon community. She's been a homeschooling mom for years, and this woman knows her stuff. She is so full of wisdom. I am legit just beyond excited to learn from her. When I was kind of making this decision and going through some of my options more towards the beginning of August, I just really felt drawn to Kia, and I reached out to her. Ooh, it was a scary moment for me, but I asked her if she would be willing to come share with my Patreon community. So she is helping co-write September's ebook with me that's going to be all about homeschooling, just kind of some of her wisdom, what she's done. She's also great at planning and scheduling. It's going to be amazing. So if you haven't checked out my Patreon community yet, I linked it below. I hope you'll take some time to just kind of look into it. You can kind of think of it as a monthly mentoring program for mamas. I just share any and all information I can think of, and I have a monthly topic. So September is going to be back to the basics. We're going to be talking about school and schedules and all that fun stuff, and we do giveaways in there and stuff. So please make sure that you check out my Patreon community, because Kia has so graciously decided to come, and she's going to share information with us in an ebook and come do a live with me, answer questions, all that good stuff. So I think it's going to be a fantastic month for learning. Okay, so again, I know the specifics of choices are very personal to each and every family. We're in Minnesota, so things have been crazy for a while now. When I saw some of the plans that the schools were coming out with, I just didn't feel comfortable with them, and my son's school actually went even a step above what Minnesota was mandating and what the CDC was recommending, and so I just didn't feel fully comfortable with all of the information that was coming out and the requirements that he would have to adhere to go back to school. So my husband and I had a couple of very hard conversations, just looking into everything. My son was in a Spanish immersion school, so he was learning Spanish and learning a second language and doing fantastic in school. So yeah, it definitely was a really hard decision to make. And part of me, he loved school so much that it was hard. Keep saying it was hard, but really that's all I just keep going back to, is it was not an easy decision. And we did chat through it with him a little bit and explain some of the new requirements and regulations that would be in place if he chose to go back to school. How social distancing, mask wearing, they took away, they used to learn at tables, the little groups would, and so then they'd be at single desks. And so we just kind of talked through how it would look different and how it wouldn't be the same as the experience that he had in kindergarten. And that bummed him out. He's a very social little guy. He loves people. Physical touch is his love language. I mean, so I just knew that the boundaries that they needed to put in place were going to be really, really hard on him anyhow. And so when we talked through it, he actually did tell me, you know, Mom, I think I'm okay with being homeschooled. Like, I don't really know if I want to do that. And so that helped my heart a little bit. And so it's still been hard because he once in a while says, you know, when I go back to school, and I have to remind him that, you know, he's not going back to school this year and that we're going to be homeschooled. And but he is excited about it at the same time. Even last year around like Christmas time, after he'd been going to school for a couple of months, he did get to the point where he was like, Mom, like, I really just want to be home with you and I want to go places with you and the girls. And so, yeah, I think part of him is excited. I think part of him is grieving the fact that he won't be with his friends and he won't be in school. And that's the part that my mama heart is grieving too, is that he was making friendships. And again, he's such a social butterfly that he just really, really enjoyed it. But with all the stuff that's coming out right now due to the pandemic and circumstances, we just felt like this was going to be the best choice for our family moving forward. And the funny thing is I always felt like I would homeschool at some point. I think because I was homeschooled, right away I felt that pressure of like, oh my gosh, I have to homeschool my children. I was homeschooled, so it's what I need to do. And it actually really helped me kind of like break out of that box to send my child to school and be like, no, this is the best choice for him as a kid. Like, we kind of looked at each of our children individually. It's funny, but I don't know if I was going to send Cece to school. I was never fully convinced that she would do well in school because she's a little bit more of an introvert and she's quieter. I just didn't know if I felt like school would fit her personality well. So it's funny, but as much as I knew that Zeke would thrive in school, I didn't feel that same way about Cece. But again, I still had a little bit of time before she was going to start school. So we've really looked at each individual child and the way that they learn and their personality and stuff. And I think at some point I would have probably chosen to homeschool all of my kids if I felt like it worked for them. But with the current state of things, it just pushed me into it a little bit sooner than I was planning. I am excited though to get back into routine. I feel like, you know, summer is always like this and it's so crazy. There's nothing scheduled and all that. So I'm really excited to get back into routine. I've set a like morning schedule and then like afternoon and evening, and kind of like have a loose idea of what we're going to be doing, what's going to be expected of the kids, that type thing. And so I'm craving routine and schedule right now. Having a almost 2-year-old and a 5-month-old is like, woo, this is gonna be crazy and it's gonna be fun, but we're gonna get there. It's gonna be okay. Just gotta nail down that schedule. Anyhow, I knew there would just be tons of questions surrounding this big change that we're making as a family, and I definitely will be sharing my journey on Instagram. I mean, you know, I am always legit up in my stories sharing real everyday life. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram, make sure that you check out my account because I share day-to-day stuff on there, and then I'll be checking in here with more updates. And of course, again, please consider joining my Patreon community, even if it's only for this month, to take advantage of that ebook that Kia is going to be helping me put out. I think it's going to be an amazing resource for mamas, not even just homeschool mamas, but mamas in general, because this mom has so much wisdom to share with all of us. So I'm really, really excited for this month's ebook. If you're looking for an awesome group of women, just kind of like a mentorship type feeling, definitely check out Patreon. I think it's a fun community space for all of us. Be on the lookout for future videos. I have been meaning for a while now to do like a family update, but again, with 2 littles, with 4 kids, 2 of them really little, yeah, I'm just gonna say that video recording and vlogs and stuff have definitely taken a back seat, so not that I think anybody blames me, but I will be getting back into some of those soon, and I definitely will be sharing a day in the life with our homeschooling schedule and how everything is going. So keep on the lookout for those. I will see you next time.